So this is not a trivia question per se, but we always talk about the players that benefited the most from the expansion years of the NHL and the new league in the WHA. And this player should come to mind because he eventually became a 40-goal scorer in the WHA after being mired, literally mired in the minors at every level for almost a decade. Now, today we're going to be talking about the other Jarrett, because Doug Jarrett is a good player as well, Gary Jarrett. Now, the left winger, 5'8", 170, born Toronto, September 3rd, 1942. First came to major prominence in the 1959 season with the West Toronto Dukes of the MJBHL. He eventually graduated to the great Toronto Marlies, which was a Toronto affiliate for the Maple Leafs, with the OHA. Now, he was undrafted because there was no draft back then. Second season with the Marlies was his best. He had 50 points in 46 games. Now, in 61, he also played with Toronto for one game that year, the Sudbury Wolves of the EPHL, and also with the Rochester Americans. Now, he was still junior eligible, ladies and gentlemen. 62 season, he played with the Toronto Marlies again, had 28 goals and 55 points in 31 games. And he eventually also played with Rochester of the AHL that year with 3 goals in 5 games. 63 split time between Sudbury and Rochester, scoring 19 goals. 64 split time between Rochester and the Denver Invaders of the WHL. 65 was a big campaign for him with the Tulsa Oilers of the CPHL. 56 points in 67 regular season games and 13 points in 12 playoff games. Now, 66, he ended up with Detroit's affiliate, the Pittsburgh Hornets, and eventually made the big team. 24 goals with the Hornets in 66. 67, he had 29 games, and he had 4 games with Detroit. Now, his rookie season with Detroit, not say he was an overage rookie, but age 26, he really opened out. 39 points in 68 games. This was kind of a transition year for Detroit. He eventually found his way to the Oakland Seals in 69 and had his first 20-goal season with 22 counters in 63 games. Still with Oakland in 70, he had 12 goals and 31 points. 71, 34 points in 75 games. And 72, his last season in California, his totals were way down, 15 points in 55 games. Now, what really killed him with 71 with the Seals, was minus 28. And I think California and the rest of the NHL teams basically didn't take a second chance on him. But he eventually found a home in the new WHA, and he really did well in Cleveland that first year. 79 points in 77 games, point-a-game pace, 40 goals, and 11 points in 9 playoff games with the Jerry Cheevers, Jerry Pinder side. 74, 31 goals and 70 points. 75, he had 17 goals in 77 games and wrapped up his career in the major leagues in 76 with 33 points in 69 games, which gave him over 100 goals for the WHA. Now, WHA totals almost, not quite, but almost a point-a-game pace. 104 goals, 223 points in 298 games, and a very solid 17 playoff points, including 9 goals and 22 postseason matches. NHL, 72 goals, 164 points, and 3 goals and assists in 4 playoff games. Now, what was quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen, the early years of the Oakland Seals, he was one of their few offensive stars. And how it worked with Oakland, ladies and gentlemen, at the time, they only had really 2 solid lines. And Jarrett was on that mostly the best of the number 2 line. So that goal totals might be a little bit deceiving, maybe if the other teams weren't checking them so well. Because that 69 season, though, he scored a lot of big goals, and that allowed him to make the playoffs. And, California, Oakland, I mean, they had some talent there. Gary Smith and Vadnais and Boldarev and a few others. Like, they had enough talent to be competitive. Unfortunately, before, the team merged with, moved to Cleveland, merged in Minnesota. But with the Crusaders, ladies and gentlemen, he's among all-time leaders in points and assists for the Crusaders. Some very, very strong totals, and it still is a partial legend in Cleveland because that 40-goal season, there was a lot of great celebrations every time they scored because they would chant Gary, Gary, Gary. I've heard the tape, and that was pretty cool. An easy name to chant is always good, especially when you're a goal scorer like Mr. Jarrett. So that's the legend of Gary Jarrett. Thanks for listening. Bye.